Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Independently Speaking. I'm your host, Glenn Mayo, currently the Director of Communications and Director of Events and Scouting with Lineage of Champions, Independent Hoops, and NYBL, the National Youth Basketball League. Today, June 21st, we are joined by really influential coach in the middle school level, especially our NYBL deal, Coach Rizz with Team Takeover Hart. Coach, how you doing?
Good, can't complain.
I know you guys are coming off of a really big weekend down in Fort Lauderdale, Miami area. How did everything shape up? How was the experience?
Man, it was a great experience. Can't lie, man. This was my first time at Bowling on the Beach with this
Okay.
group, and it was definitely well worth it. Had a great time. Got to stay, boys got to see the pool and beach and all the good stuff in Florida. Uh, and then of course it happened, happened to happen on Father's Day, and what a great Father's Day to be able to bring home the championship for both my seventh grade as well as my second grade year old son. They won the championship down there as well. So
Okay. Okay.
kind of got
Nice. Okay. I'm about to say, man, it was definitely a unreal kind of atmosphere down there with, the 35 courts under one roof, and I
man.
think they had 450 plus teams, and so it was, we got down there, took our media team down there some, and just still with multiple film guys and multiple scouts in the gym, it just seems like you miss so much. You know what I mean? It's hard. It's impossible to kind of cover it all. There's so many good teams.
I
Um,
agree.
so, but we, we actually got a chance to kind of watch you guys a few times. We watched the Seattle Rotary game, and then a couple others as well, and kind of, we obviously we highlighted a few of your guys this weekend that kind of had, really strong performances. But, for those guys that don't get to visit the DMV or, aren't as hip to middle school basketball yet as they should be, kind of give us a breakdown on Jay Vinny and Jada and Nazir and, JJ and Jordan. Kind of talk to us a little bit about those guys and who they are as players and kind of how their weekend went.
Yeah, so I guess we'll start off with John and Vinny since you talked about him. 2027 kid, seventh grade. He definitely is one of those players that because doesn't really have the doesn't I guess would say the flash or whatever, but when you just go back and you look at the game and stuff, real effective, can score at all three levels. One of our better 3-point shooters, but because he is 6 foot guard, gets to the rim and finishes good through contact, left hand, right hand, getting to the rim. He had a really strong weekend. Also been trying to work him more into being more of a lead guard. So getting him some of those point guard reps.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? Really trying to develop him and just prepare him more for the next level as, he continued to go on with his career. So
I'm about to say, and not to cut you off about him, I know you mentioned he was like 6 foot, but he's just one of those guys that looks like he's definitely going to grow into a really good frame. Like
yeah.
if you would have told me he was 6'2", I probably would have believed you.
Yeah, his father, his father was a Division I player. Uh, Played at Georgetown actually.
Okay.
So it's in the blood. If you ever heard of Keith Vinny, the shot doctor, uh,
Okay.
that's his uncle.
Okay.
So again, no coincidence that he's one of our better shooters.
Yeah, he's ate up with it. He's ate up with it. It's all in his bloodline. I was about to say, you mentioned I talked about him in our kind of our part one of our recaps, and just how hard he plays too. I feel like that's a skill that goes unnoticed is a player's motor, and he just kind of you know, and it's. I will say now, it is hard not to have a motor playing for Takeover Hart, because like I think I took a picture. I haven't sent it to you yet of you coaching in the game, and I said this is what coaching should look like. I think you were drenched in sweat. You know what I mean? But that's what it takes. You know what I mean? Players respond to that.
And that's just a byproduct of, you know, the coaching that I was under. You know what I mean? Played at Drexel under Bruiser Flint, and if you ever seen Bruiser Flint on the sideline, he's the same way. Really animated, excited coach, trying to get a kid's energy. So just feed off, you know, the coaching and previous coaches that I had in the past. You know what I mean? But yeah, Jamin definitely is a two-way player. You know, in the championship game, he actually was so exhausted that he had to come off the court to, you know, relieve himself. And literally in the middle of it, I'm like, nah, you got to get back in. And he just wipes his face and goes back in the game and figures out how to finish it out.
Jesus.
So, you know.
How many did you guys end up having to play on Sunday? Was it 3?
4.
4.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, which is why it's so important to, you know, what we learned over the past. So I've been with this group since second grade now. You know, three of my players have been with me since second grade. The rest of my kids kind of been off and on, starting probably around 5th grade. I started changing pieces up, or, you know, with like the Oladipo team, taking some of my players from, you know what I mean, and different things of that nature. So, you know, we over the years, you learn to win these tournaments. It does come down to a war of attrition and who has legs and stuff like that. And you just find out that trying to do it with just 6 or 7 really good kids can burn them out. So, you know, we really have a good, strong 9, you know what I mean? We down there with 9 kids, and all of them had to contribute, you know what I mean? So that's why I say, you know, Jana just was the first person that you brought up. So we started it, but we have really stellar play from everyone. And our big man, Bo, Derek Daniels, that's the 6'5", 6'6" kid. And you probably remember him, his first tournament last year when you got you guys seen us last year at the Philly event. Was you there?
Yeah.
That was his first tournament last year. That was his first.
Okay.
He'd been playing basketball for a year, and you know, then he couldn't even catch the ball yet, right? You know what I mean? So him catching in game and dunking in half court sets, and, you know, really affecting the game defensively, you know, just shows the development, you know, that we continue to preach about, of getting these kids ready for the next level. So, you know, only been playing the game for a year, and, you know, to average 7 blocks in an elite tournament, and in a legit, like, not us, you know, you can look at the highlights of just the Thrill game that we only put 6 of them on there, but he actually had more. He's actually had a couple of games with 10 or more blocks.
Wow.
So, you know, one of my assistant coach, Dan Shanoff, you know, he used to actually do statistician things with ESPN. And so he does a lot of keeping actually official stats for us. So percentages and 3-point field goals, 2-point field goals, a lot of that stuff during game. Because, you know, a lot of times it is a nice tool to have at halftime to see what we're actually shooting and not basing it solely off a field.
Right.
So you see certain numbers, you're like, oh, he already got 6 rebounds and 5 blocks at halftime. It's like, forget if he's scoring. Those, you know, that type of impact.
Right.
You know what I mean? And the crazy thing about him is he's, you know, he gets the knock of being a reclass because he's 6'5", 6'6", weighs a size 18 shoe. But he actually just turned 13 in February.
Okay.
He's another bloodline. You know, Dad, Derek Daniels played at Winston-Salem State, played in the Capital Classic back in his day, was a all-time city kid. He out here in DC for Easter. You know, before he passed away. And his mother's 6'1" as well. So he you know, again, size 18 shoe, only 13. It's safe to say he's not done growing yet.
Right. I'm about to say that right there, just being 13 and a size 18 shoe, that lets you know all you need to know. And It is funny how especially me be coaching at the college level, you can just see it, especially with shot blocking in particular. That a lot of times, the kid's only been playing for a year, like you said. So a lot of times that stuff is just so natural.
Yeah.
That's one of the natural skills, and for him to be able to have that, at this age, at the height he's at now, you know what I'm saying, with the room, just like you said, still continue to grow over the next few years and kind of grow into those shoes. That's going to be pretty scary to see.
Yeah.
Well, talk to us a little bit about my guy, man, the heart and soul of the team, the warrior, the defensive, mantra, Jada. I mean, you like I see you put here. You have like 3 steals a game.
Yeah, so he, we
You
talk
know we
about it
love
all
him.
the time. You want to be a takeover point guard, you gotta play 94 feet. It's just in the DNA of the organization. You know what I mean? And honestly, if for any kid that's going to be a smaller guard, you got to be able to do it regardless.
Mm-hmm.
And the crazy thing about him is he's a 6th grader. You know
Wow.
what I mean? So he's a 2028 kid. So you know what I mean? But again, he's in a great situation where it's no need to play 2028 when a starting point guard on a top 5, top 10, whatever you want to rank us team in the country for the grade above.
Right.
So getting that experience of having to finish around the bigger kids,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean? The stronger, playing it. And even with that, the ability to pick up 94 feet and literally he gets an on-ball steal every game.
Oh, every game.
Every game. He gets on-ball steal, like not passing lane steal. No. The kid who dribbling the ball up, you get careless with it at all, we going the other way. And, that's been something, he's actually one of my original players.
Okay.
So I've had him since he was turning 7 years old. So, he's one of the original ones, and we're one of those teams that we stopped playing zone in the third grade. So you can really truly see the practice of truly playing good man-to-man defense over a 4 or 5 year span and how it looks when you've really been pushing yourself.
Right. Right.
And teaching him, of course, because he's an explosive athlete, teaching him how to play with more pace. He does a great job of that. Like in the dunk that Bo got against Thrill, like that's an example of not coming off the screen full speed, but coming off the screen, stopping, then exploding, making defense commit so you can drop the ball off. That change of pace in that play is just one of those type of plays that is you proud almost seeing the development of how it looks now versus how it looked when he was in the 2nd grade. So
right.
you know what I mean?
Just that ability to kind of manipulate the defense a little bit, you know what I mean, and set stuff up and get them to do what you want them to do. I mean, that's the sign of a great guard right there.
And he continues, to add to his game. He added, this year he's actually been shooting the 3 ball a lot better. Getting more to his mid range as now we're starting to play with. You out there and people probably hear, oh, you got a 6'5", 6'6" big, but you're out there and it feel like every team got 2 of them.
Right.
You know what I mean? Right. So really trying to prepare himself for the next level of, look, that's going to be 6'10" in a couple of years, but you can still prepare for it now of getting to your spots and understanding the game before the plays actually happen. So,
right.
He is one of the, a big piece of the heart and soul of the team. You know what I mean? Typically, he sets and starts, the defensive tone. Him and Nas, Nasir Barnes, who's actually, a 2027 kid. That's the lefty shooter, scorer. But both of them really high energy, pressure, 94 feet guards. You know what I mean? Then you put a Jamin along with that. And we typically start the game off with a great defense. Like we talked about it all weekend. The most proud, that we were was that, we had, I think 3 or 4 different games where we held opponents in the 20s.
Wow. 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 Wow.
And, in 16-minute stop clock halves to hold, the JL3 was
JL3.
scoring, they were scoring 70s, and we held them in the 20s. The Canadian Gators were scoring
Yeah.
70s. We
Right.
held them in the 20s. The SC Savages only had 31 against us. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, when you actually go back and look at our scores, and it's like, man, no one scored 45 on us the whole weekend. You know what I mean? And we had
Mhm.
times where we was holding teams to less than 1 point per minute. And, if you do advanced analytics on that, that's
Right.
really impressive at this age, especially when you consider how fast we play on offense.
Right.
So
Right.
it's not like we're coming down, holding the clock out or nothing like that. We're
Mhm.
playing at a fast pace and really committed to the defensive side. So
Yeah.
a lot of our games where, people was asking us like, y'all won by 20. Wow. It wasn't because we scored 80 points. It
Right.
was just
Yeah.
because we were holding the teams to, subpar shooting days. You know what I mean? So, and then finishing the possessions off with rebounding. And we really, Bo, again, he came in on, like, he's elevated every weekend. But Jordan Taylor is another one who's, we actually start Jordan and we don't even start Bo
Mhm.
because he's only been playing for a year. So we continuously working him in. But, Jordan Taylor, which is, we had to deal with him where, 10 rebounds a game, you get whatever you want. So he really is a just junkyard, old school junkyard dog. And he guards a lot of different positions. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? So, like,
Mhm.
we played against SC Savages, and we actually had him guard the big kid, and then we would just put Bo on like a less non-shooter or a weaker shooter, so he could stand in the paint behind. But Jordan really played him one up. You know what I mean? Most of the game, and typically with any of the good bigs or bigger kids, we typically say, "All right, Jordan, you got him 1-on-1." So,
Mhm.
you
Mhm.
know, he and the ability to do that, and the kids to buy into, again, the offense will happen because we free flowing, moving the ball. We're probably one of the better passing teams in the country. So
Right.
we get a lot of assisted buckets. But again, for these kids to really, buy into the defense. And then, of course, last was, honestly, our MVP of this weekend was JJ,
Mhm.
which, this is actually his first year playing with us. And he's one of our better kids. He's actually bought into coming off the bench. And honestly, he only comes off the bench because he didn't start off the season with us.
Right.
And so because he came after the season had started, we kind of, implement him in it. But what happened was he just was scoring so many points off the bench. It was like, why mess it up? You know what I mean? And we started
Mhm.
noticing we're subbing him in when the other team is subbing their subs in, but he might be our best scorer or one of our better scorers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
subbing him in to go against subs, and it's like, okay, like he had games this weekend, 18, 16. You
Oh
know
wow.
what I mean? Like in the championship, he had 18 points on 5 for 5 from the three and 1 for 2 from two. And so, you go 6 for 7 from the field and score 18. That's
Mhm.
high
Mhm.
efficiency. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah,
Really good game. Right.
16 and different things, and ended up averaging, 15 points a game for us. And again, that's a kid that I'm saying coming off the bench.
Mhm.
You know
Mhm.
what I mean? But again, he doesn't care with it because he plays starters minutes.
Right.
You know what I mean? And again, that just speaks to, again, these kids of actually sacrificing and buying into the whole team concept and what can they do for the team. You know what I mean? So,
Right.
and again, that's just those five. But we got two other sixth graders on my team. Kareem Bay Smith, number 9. He's about 6'2", 6'3" wing.
Okay.
He's a sixth grader as well. He missed the glue guy. He does everything for us. Handles
Mhm.
the ball. You'll see him sometimes playing point guard. Sometimes he's playing center. Sometimes he's on the wing. Sometimes, you know what I mean? You don't know where he is. Real smart kid. can do it, can do a little bit of it all. Plays out of the high post really well. I mean, we love when teams go to, like, if you look at our highlights, a lot of times you'll see him with the ball first before
Right.
some forwards, because he's good size, but he plays like a guard.
Okay. Okay.
Can really find people. And then we got Muhammad, Muav Muhammad, who is another sixth grader, and about 6 foot as well. Shoot the ball from anywhere past half court. And really developing. He gets a lot of our backup point guard role as well. So we like I said, it was one of those team. When you win tournaments like that, you can't do it on the back of 2 kids.
Right.
You
right.
can't do it on the back of 3 kids. You have to have, everyone has to have their moments. Everyone has had their times where they make that play, they get that rebound, they get that charge, that whatever that play is, they make that shot. So many times, you hear people talk about coaches, and the reality of it is, when you go back and you look at the game, it's like the coach can't coach making the layup, making free throw. You know what I mean? Like, we look at a lot of our, we tell the kids as well, we're going to, as coaches, we're going to find or try to find more stuff that we could have done to put you in the best situation. But the reality of it is, you got to get it done.
You got to get it done. Right. Well, tell me, like, I know you guys, like you said, are big on, development, and, obviously you guys have a lot of the top talent around there, but, you do have some 6th graders on your team, like, playing up. Like, you're not, one of these, talented teams that just, you're only talented because you got older kids, so kind of break down, what a typical practice for you guys, like, and maybe what separates that from other people. Is it just the 8 or 9 guys that you guys have, and you really coach, skill development, or are you guys constantly going against the older guys? Or
we do a lot of joint practices. We do, whether it's with Oladipo, whether it's with our older teams, whether it's with other teams, right? Because our coaching staff is full with, like, I coach at, Carroll High School, which is in the WCAC. So some of my kids are working out with JV and varsity, throughout the week, or, we got different, where we practice at, there's different local 15, 16 U teams that practice at the same gym, where we'll get, reps and control scrimmages against them. But outside of that, our home gym, we have a lot of 16U kids that play for, like, different AAU teams, and they're nice enough to get some work in with us and let us practice with them. But outside of that, it's really just honestly the typical practice. Now, our practice does mimic that of a high level high school or college practice, as our blueprint or our practice plan is essentially put together through my experience of being a player. So, the typical, what you would see, and if you go to, so my coach is the head assistant at Kentucky.
Okay.
And so if you went into their practice and then you came into our practice, you would feel like it was very, very close.
Right.
You know what I mean? But again, I played at that level. Then I went on to be a grad assistant for 1 year on the with the coaching staff. So I understand, we do the little things of having practice plans and different things, and making sure that we're getting the most out of those 2 hours that we can, because we only practice twice a week, 2 hours a piece. So, little water breaks and very high intense and focus. And, we got this thing we like to say on our team, but you got to pay the fee to play basketball. And that's, focus, energy, and emotions. So as long as you got that, you got those 3 things every day, you will have a successful day of getting better.
I like that. That's a good one.
We talk about that all the time of, the parents paying for practice time or the only fee you got to pay is those 3 things. You don't got to make shots. You don't have to, all that other stuff. But if you do, typically if a team has a great focus, a great energy, and they hold their emotions, and you have to add that with this generation because it's so much more emotions. You know what I mean?
Right.
And if you do those three things, you know what I mean, you typically, it's the recipe for success.
Right. You give yourself the best chance for sure.
Exactly. So we really do that, and again, we really are big on develop. Again, you know, in a typical sense, we are the quote unquote B team, right?
Right.
So it's just that you don't typically see B teams that are this good. Like I would be curious, when was the last time a B team won bowling on the beach?
Right. Exactly. In one of the toughest age groups that there are.
You know what I
Now,
mean?
Ho did there should have been more teams, from that area. No question about it. But that's a prolific event. That's a main stage type of event, and to go there, and you can see some of the scores across the bottom, like you were saying, where you guys kind of went out there and handled people, just defended them. You know what I mean? Like your margin for error was, larger than most because you're going to get out there and defend, and I think that pays off big time. What has that experience been like? I guess for you as a coach and a former player that played at the highest level to, even your team, just being part of the whole takeover organization and, being, one of other great ones. It's just essentially like how the players playing for you guys, they got to understand like, yeah, I'm good. And yeah, this and that, but, I'm coming to be a part of something great. And same thing with you guys, like you're a good team, but, there's a whole other takeover team with the Rock Boys and, all the other age groups, like, kind of how has that experience been?
And it's a great experience, you know what I mean? Because it truly is an organization that wants everyone to succeed regardless. That's the real reason of the, no playing in championships and stuff like that, right? We could do that at home. We can do that in practice. It's really, the family shouldn't fight in front of other people.
Mm-hmm.
That's the motto. You know what I mean? Like, you got a disagreement with your brother or mother, you wait till you get home to have that disagreement. You don't argue in front of company. You know what I mean? So it's real big on that. You know what I mean? So Ray will, again, when me and Ray sat down at the beginning of the year, fall when we was having the trials, we actually sat down and strategically put these teams together. It was not you take your top 10 and then I take what's left. It was, no, we don't want to put all these kids on the same team because again, the long-term development of what they can be in high school can't be stunted because you put too much talent on one team, you may lose on the on the development piece. So it's more so of what made sense, what kids fit good together. You know what I mean? Now he is the A team, so certain pieces he of course just took if he really wanted them. But it like I said, we knew that regardless, we was going to have two teams that was going to be highly talented. The 2023 class from out of Takeover was the same way. The 8th grade year, they end up finishing with two teams in the top 7 in coast to coast or whatever the case was. Routinely, they both teams making the Final Four just like us. We might do it in just a little bit higher because we're typically meeting each other in the championship.
Right.
You know what I mean? But yeah, it's like, we went to made hoops even with taking an 0-3 record, and we still went undefeated and won our side, right? So, we a real good team. We really the kids take the whole B team and probably use it more as a chip on their shoulder because they understand that in our area it's so much basketball and so many high schools that regardless, you still going to be the man in your set. So you got to develop your game, and that's the biggest thing is telling them just to keep your head down and run your race. Don't look to the left. Don't look to the right. Keep your eyes straight ahead and run your race, and everything will end up working out.
Absolutely. Well, I know we're kind of getting up here, towards the end. So just looking ahead for Takeover Hart, man. What's on the schedule? I know Junior Peach State up here in Augusta is going to be, a movie. It's going to be unreal
Yeah.
this year. We're looking at for that seventh grade division, probably like 48 teams. And legit 48 teams. We're not talking about the mom and pops and this or
Yeah.
that. I mean, every game, could potentially be a slugfest. So just kind of give us a rundown of what's next for you guys, and then kind of look ahead to the Peach State.
So we doing a JV summer league locally. So
Mm-hmm.
we gonna do that, and then outside of that will be Peach State. You know what I mean? We should be in MSC, but that's a whole nother story. I think that the resume and the people say that we there's no way it's eight teams above us. But you never know what happened this here at home, so who knows what goes on with that. But Peach State will be the conclusion for the most part, will be the conclusion of the season. And looking to rebound last year, it wasn't Peach State, it was the Peach Invitational, right? But it was
Mm-hmm.
generally the same, the
Mm-hmm.
same type of down there doing Peach Jam, and we lost in the Final Four actually.
Mm-hmm.
So trying to come back this year, and again, we last year we did a thing of we went to nationals and then we went from nationals straight down. So I felt like we kind of burnt out, towards the
Right.
in bracket play. Because when you're talking about super pools and all of that stuff, and then you just played a week long nationals. So I thought we kind of ran out of gas last year. But this year, hoping to finish the season strong, have a good, like I said, finish Peach State, and we just won Bowling on the Beach, and then the week before that, we won MIT, and that was again another one convincing fact where held a lot of teams to 10, 20s, 30,
Yeah.
30. Our championship game, I think we ended up beating Durant 64-34.
Right.
And that blowout isn't because we scored a ton of points.
Right.
That's just from the defensive end. So just keeping that up and trying to get these boys ready and in more shape and starting up our, we do we have like when they get out of school, we do like conditioning days and more of those, like getting the boys ready and trying to develop their bodies and explosiveness and stuff like that, because at the next level, that athleticism has to be at a certain baseline for them to be able to go where they want to go. And so,
Right.
in our area, for most of these kids, the WCAC is the goal. And
Mm-hmm.
you're talking about one to play in the best high school, or what is considered to be one of the best high school conferences in the country.
Right.
You know what I mean? Every year, it's a class just like this going into those schools. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
you see right now, like in the live period, how many of the 2026 takeover kids were playing varsity? You know what I mean? Live.
Right.
That's
Right.
why our eighth grade couldn't do. You know what I mean? Bowling on the beach
Mm-hmm. Right.
because
'Cause with their high school teams playing in front of coaches, you know what I mean?
yeah.
Rightfully so.
And again, it's also we really more so about the development and trying to get these kids on the right path. So you know
Absolutely.
what I mean? It's that's where we at, and so it's gonna be fun to just see how these kids continue to develop and see what goes on, and we'll see what happens next year, whether I'll be coaching still or not for that grade. It's always a fluid. Look, it's funny because I was supposed to hand this team off in the fifth grade,
Really?
and and then I coached it through fifth, then I coached it through sixth, and coaching it through seventh. So I just keep telling people we'll see what happens next year come eighth grade, and then like I said earlier, I also coach a younger team. So
Mhm.
I got a top 10 team in the country for third grade as well.
Okay, nice, nice. There we go. There we go. I was gonna say, man, that what you mentioned it kind of in that area having the kind of one of the best leagues in the country as far as high school basketball goes, all the way down to middle school. Like I think that gives you guys that distinct advantage. When you go off and play at these other tournaments, wherever they may be, is the fact that, when you do make it to those Sweet 16s, those Final Fours, those championship games, that level of competition is what you play, on a normal weekend, a normal Saturday in the DMV area. So I think just having that to prepare you just goes unbelievably a long amount of ways for, the amount of success that you guys have been able to string together.
Yeah. What ends up happening is it develops the parents as well. So,
Mm-hmm.
like the parents in our area, while they think they know everything, but in truthful, they do have a great understanding, and there's a great education that goes to the parents with developing these boys. So, a lot of these kids outside of Bo, they really have been playing at this level 5-6 years. Like, we got plenty of kids on our team with past national championship AAU teams, you know what I mean? Or being on number 1, number 2, number 3 ranked teams, and really traveling and playing at this level. And, you get a game where it's 200 people around the court. That's not the first time for them. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
And so that's also one of the things that prepare them, is just that level of understanding of trying to push the kids from an earlier age. And if you really love it, it's no such thing as burning out, right? Like, if
Right.
you tell a kid to go play a video game every day for the rest of his life, if he loves video games, I don't think he's going to wake up and say he burnt out.
Right.
If you love it.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's the same with basketball. It's the same with anything in your life. You truly love it, putting in some time, and it shouldn't even feel like work. So, the parents really being on a good page, and, buying into what we trying to preach, and the paths that we see, and making sure that we on the same page of what they're trying to get out of their kids, and making sure that we're doing that. Like on my team, you'll see that we don't really too much play technical sets. We just play a lot of different actions without an open sets. So that way different kids getting in the ball in different areas. So that way we could truly try to develop everyone. So
Right.
it's just a great situation all around. Can't complain about it at all. You know what I mean? It's one of those things where, it's coming to an end, because once we get to the high school with the EYBL, the coaches are in place.
Right. Right.
But again, that's why it's just so fun. I just love coaching. So like I said, I'm already grooming that 2031 class, which on that team, I got 3 little brothers of older kids that's played for me as well.
Okay.
So,
guys that you got a lot of familiarity with, especially with their families and that type of stuff.
And it's like that with the kids I got now. Like Jada has an older brother who went through Takeover, or we got different kids. Again, like when I talk about these kids, they all have older brothers or parents that played or different things like that. So it helps foster the environment that we have, which is leading to really good success. And as you see on the Takeover, and not even just the Takeover, the DMV level, the number of Division 1, Division 2 players that are just coming from out of this area. Like when college basketball is on, it's almost impossible to see everybody play.
Right.
So
that area has definitely become a hotbed, man, and one of the premier areas in the whole entire country. You know what I mean? Second to none, almost.
Yeah, so we just, like I said, I tell the kids, keep your head down, and people will notice. You know what I mean? When the whole B team thing started, I was able to get the parents and kids to understand that, that doesn't mean anything, because if you put the work in, when people see you, they'll just recognize you for whatever it is that you do. So,
right.
You really and we are the Takeover Hart. Josh Hart is actually our team. You know what I mean? Again, that's why it's Takeover Hart. That's for Josh Hart, who's
Josh
also
Hart. Nice.
Yeah. So it's no drop off. We like to say, you know what I mean? On any given day, who gonna be the better team, you won't even know. You know what I mean? So we just stand to the course and keep grinding, keep working, keep being motivated. And like I tell them, You know, the next year team for that 8th grade team playing for Big Keith, he don't care about what 7th grade stuff you did. When he
Right.
hold that tryout come 8th grade, he looking at what he wants.
Right.
And
Right. What have
he
you done
both,
for me lately? You know?
and that's the thing about Takeover is every year I've had a tryout. I've never gone into a year with the same exact team ever, and I've had this
Mhm.
team since 2nd grade. We've
Mhm.
changed 3 to 4 kids every year because we had to say no. If you didn't work hard during that all season and another kid did, they moved up or the new
Right.
kid come in. But it's that sense of it's nothing is entitled. You have to every year work, and that's why you don't really see takeover teams really adding or changing too many pieces through the season. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? Like you look at Ray team, they added, Manir. That's just one kid, but that's because they lost a couple of kids. You know what I mean?
Right.
But that's just one kid. Or you look at our team and we added JJ during the season, but that's just one kid. You're not really going to see too much change or whatever because the kids really do have to try out.
Right. Right.
It's not a oh I'm such and such or you know what I mean. Like even when kids join the team during the season, like if people knew how many practices and how many sprints and push-ups they got to do to put that equity in before you just say you on the team, it's still there. Like you know what I mean. We want everyone to earn whatever it is that you get.
Man, that's the key, coach, especially with today's generation. If you can fight that disease of entitlement, I'm telling you, you get paid a lot of money if you can solve that. If you can cure that cancer right there, because that is, especially as they are, talented kids or, rightfully so. But that disease of entitlement, especially in today's generation, is, that's the biggest setback. So fighting that's the key for sure, 100%.
And like I said, some of our kids done went back and forth. You know what I mean? I've had kids that been on the A team, went to the B team, came back to the A team. You know what I mean? But it doesn't matter as long as they getting better. And that's the major thing that everyone needs to always remember is that like getting whatever your goal is, getting better doesn't stop. Like you
Hmm.
watch Division 2 kids make it further in the pros because the Division 1 kid stopped working once he got to Division 1, while the
Right.
Division 2 kid kept working. Or you see, nowadays you seeing people graduate high school, stop playing basketball, but keep working out all the time, and then find their way into a lower pro league and
Hmm.
work their way up because as long as you willing to put in the work, a
Right.
lot of stuff can happen for you nowadays. You know what I mean? You look up, you in the TBT, next thing you know, you getting a 10-day. Like
Right. Right.
it's
Right.
really, it's really happening. And so that's why I tell them it's like if you really just love the game and you keep working, you'll look up and you'll get opportunities. And last thing I say is that I post this a lot, but you hear some a known saying, but luck is when preparation meets opportunity,
Hmm.
and that's really what it is. It's like you're going to get opportunities. What you do with those opportunities is up to you, and that's based on how prepared you are when that opportunity arises. And so as long as you take advantage of your opportunity, you're gonna get your chances.
Right.
And
Right.
and a lot of the takeover, NBA pros weren't necessarily the highly talented, the highly touted or uh ranked kids. You know what I mean? A lot of them were the kids that just kept working. Josh Hart is a great example of that. You know what I mean? Just
Mhm.
really kept working. Got the Villanova. You don't even see 4-year kids get drafted anymore.
Right.
But it
Right.
just
Right.
shows you if you keep grinding and you keep getting better, now you're a veteran. You know what I mean? You're a
Mhm.
veteran in the NBA now. So,
Mhm. Mhm.
it just shows, and it's a lot of takeover. That's in that the DMV culture is that just blue collar grind work and see what happens.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Coach, we won't take up too much more of your time, man. Like I said, a lot of respect to not only you and what you do and what you've done up to this point, but also for the Takeover brand, for Josh Hart and their brand, and big congrats again on bringing home that ball and on the beach. And like I said, we look forward to seeing you at the Junior Peach State. So thanks for taking the time to get on here and give back. And
we got a lot of them back here.
I see, Coach.
Look, they keep. I don't know where I'm putting them at no more, but we got a lot of them back there.
I love it. I love it. Well, again, man,
thanks for having me on.
I'll share this with you, man, so you can send it out to anyone. And again, man, I mean, seriously, thank you for taking the time to hop on with us.
All
right, Coach. Take care.
Enjoy.
Well, that wraps up, another episode of Independently Speaking. We were just joined by Coach Rizz, head coach of Team Takeover Hart. I guess you could say the B team of the Team Takeover 2027 program. But as he mentioned, probably the best B team in the country. I think they're ranked in top 5, top 10, and pretty much a consensus of all the 2027 rankings that have came out. And they've been real special all year long. It didn't just start with this balling on the beach performance. So like I said, we really, really appreciate Coach Rizz hopping on here. We enjoy watching Jameen and Jada and JJ and Bo and, their entire cast. They're, going to be incredible players as they continue advancing on and, going through with their careers. So keep an eye on that DMV area. If you will, stick around, watch the video of some of our future events coming up. As I mentioned, the Junior Peach State will be happening July 20th through the 24th here in Augusta, Georgia, 10 minutes away from Peach Jam. Takeover Hart will be here. Takeover's main team will be here. New York Lightning, New York Gauchos, Texas Dynasty, Max Levels Elite, you name it, they're going to be in the building. All Ohio, Cleveland, Buckeye Elite, Team United, Atlanta Celtics. Just so many really, really, really good middle school teams and even high school teams are going to be here in Augusta for that. We also are in Charlotte, our first live period weekend, the 7th through the 10th, the 8th through the 10th. Really good event going on right there, right down the road from Adidas Finals. So, another event that, if you're looking to kind of get in something that's going to have some college coaches there that's NCAA certified, this is where you want to be. This is going to be where the smoke is at. It's where all the top teams are going to be. And then lastly, our Vegas event just recently partnered with Sneaker Still. Really, really, really good 2027 team. It's out there in Vegas at the Tarkanian Center, Jerry Tarkanian Center. So, it's going to be really good. All right. So keep us updated. Stay on our YouTube, stay on our social medias. Middle school stuff, all things NYBL is NYBL B-Ball on Instagram and Twitter. That's NYBL B-Ball. Independent Hoops it covers our high school stuff, and it's also our national scouting service. So, Twitter and Instagram at My Line of Champs. That is our Independent Hoops social media. And again, you can see this video. You can check out our other Independently Speaking podcast videos and all of our, event coverage videos on our YouTube page, Independent Hoops. So that's all from me. Look forward to seeing you guys in the future.